Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Coach here. Hey, I'm glad you had a couple of minutes just to stop by. Hopefully you'll stick around, and at the end give me a subscribe and a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. Hey, this week we're talking about a particular scale that not many homeowners and many professionals do not even consider when they start in on a landscape project. Again, I'm glad you're here. Let's get this thing rolling. So I hear from many people out there, mainly when I read some of the comments that come in about people doing everything horticulturally correct. They have bought the right plants. They have found the right location. They have been able to put the right amendments together. They've dug the right hole. They've got the organic fertilizer, blah, 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 blah. And yet after a few months, everything stops. Nothing seems to work. And you instantly regress to that weekend warrior mentality. It must need more water. Got to give some more water. It must need food, so you give it more food. And nothing happens. Everything sits there. And this happens with annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees, turf, everything. So what could it possibly be? What scale of landscape specificity would be off? And that's what we're discussing here today. We're talking about the pH of the soil scale, that balancing act between acidic and alkaline, or basic and acidic. Therein lies a very good clue to people who do everything right, and after months or a year or so, they throw their hands up and go, see, I don't have a green thumb. I just spent $1,500 redoing that corner of the yard on plants and soils and mulch and everything else, and it still doesn't work. I can never get my lawn to green up. It just doesn't work. We need, at the very beginnings of a landscape project, things that are going in the ground, obviously not in containers. Things are going in the ground. We need to do a simple soil test. You can do tests that you can buy online or at stores. You can gather up soils and send it to a company. You get a much better read on where your soil is on the pH scale. Now, many people say, oh, well, I want to shoot for 7 because 7 is neutral. And I don't have 12 alkaline and I don't have 3 acidic. So I'm shooting for 7 because everything will work in 7, right, Coach? 80% of the plants out there will be fine. But then you're going to have some plants that are going to say, nope, Coach, nope, Mr. Smith, we want something that's closer to 4.5, maybe 5, maybe even 4. And those particular plants are very specific to the needs that they call for. And if you give it a neutral or a neutral pH of 7, or 8, 8.5, where a lot of plants will still perform, those things will shrivel up, die, and blow away in the wind. They will just not do a darn thing. They'll have dieback, they'll have leaf drop, they'll have leaf wilt, they'll do all kinds of stuff and just wave at you goodbye after about a year. So, why do I say all this? I say this because in your due diligence, in your research, in your acquisition of your home, whenever it was, and the planning of this particular landscape project, do not miss the step to do a soil test. Because you have gained all the skills to put things in the ground, how to care for them, how to put in irrigation and lighting, how to put in cement, all the things that I or other people have taught you. But this major league minor oversight can kill thousands and thousands of dollars worth of landscape investment. And it's such an easy fix, it really is. So where I used to practice in Northern California, the Central Valley, particularly the towns of Stockton, Tracy, they had really heavy-duty, dark-colored clay soils. And predominantly, they were about a 7.5 to an 8.5, depending on one yard to another. How do I know this? Because I was taught decades ago that if you're going to be a professional, be a complete professional and test the soils of a customer's yard before you start plunking a bunch of stuff in the ground. So I would, on many occasions, now I knew general areas of what the soils were, but if I was going into a new area, I would test that customer's soil and know exactly what I was going to design up despite their wants and wish list because of what the soil was telling me. And it also taught me what I was going to amend that soil with so that I knew once I put stuff in the ground or I laid sod out on the front yard that it was going to be good. It was going to work. I wasn't going to get a lot of callbacks, if any. And again, 10 years as a contractor, one tree replaced. One callback within the warranty period to replace a tree. And that particular knowledge and due diligence on my part as a professional kind of mitigated any of those other things down the road. And I'm strongly urging you to do it. It doesn't take very much. There's some great probes that you can find out on the internet out there. Stay away from the cheapy China stuff, would you? Get some good stuff. And if you want a suggestion or two, I'll put it in the link below and we'll have it over on the Amazon page probably later today. In any case, what do we do when we find a soil that's just out of whack? Now, I'm talking to you from the Maine, USA and Canadian border, right on the St. John River. We are up in the middle of acidic heaven up here as far as all the soils. We're talking about soils that range from probably 4 to 5.5. I'll bet you there's not a neutral soil in the whole county that I'm at right now. Maybe up on some of the potato field hills, maybe, I'm not sure. But where all the conifers are, where all the aspens and fireweed and other things that are around here, yep, all acidic soils. So, does that mean I can go out and get Spanish lavender, put it in the ground and expect it to do well? Well, number one, zone 4 is not going to grow lavender for very long. But no, lavender wants a slightly alkaline or basic type of soil to do really well. It did fantastic where I used to practice because it was right there about 7.5. It really did good. Up here, nah, you'd have to have it in a container and enjoy it there because it wouldn't last about 6 months, I'd say, in the ground. But what does do well up here, oh my gosh, rhodies, azaleas, gardenias only in a container, but hydrangea, if you like the flowers to turn blue, a nice acidic soil will help that quite a bit, and hydrangeas thrive up here in zone 4. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, conifers of all kinds, 9-bark, all the various plants that really don't mind an acidic soil. So, how do we change it? How do we adjust that pH? It's really, really simple. A simple method to do. If you have alkaline soils, you use sulfur, elemental sulfur. If you have acidic soils and you need to move it up the scale, then we use agricultural lime. And how much do you use? A rule of thumb that I was taught many years ago is if you want to move it a little, 40 pounds per 1,000 square feet. 40 pounds per 1,000 square feet. If you need to move it a lot, 2 points or more, 80 pounds. 80 pounds per 1,000 square feet. That's a lot of sulfur, a lot of lime. So, determine where your soil is at first, how much you need to adjust it, and be patient because this does not happen overnight. Bacterias and soil things need to interact with the elemental sulfur and the agricultural lime to eventually adjust that pH. We are talking, depending on the type of soil you have, 6 months to 3 years of adjustment. Coach, I don't have 3 years. I need to get this landscape in and I need to put it on the market, or I got kids coming. I want this project done. I got you. I got your back. So, when you're dealing with specific landscape project where you have 40 plants you're putting in the ground, spot treat. Spot treat where you're planting. You need to adjust it up just a little bit or adjust it down. Take a pinch of your sulfur or take a pinch of your lime, whichever direction you're going. Mix it in and excavate more soil than normal, wider and a little bit deeper. Then use your organic amendment, usually a redwood soil conditioner, a peat moss, good fir mulch compost, which is going to be slightly acidic anyway, and mix it up all 50-50 and plant it in that. That little bit of lime or little bit of sulfur will get you through the adjustment period, and then you can start mass treating everywhere else. If you're doing something like fescues or bluegrass, red chewings fescue, a lot of the ornamental grasses that grow up north, not so much down south, they're going to want a pH that sits right around 5-ish, 5 to 6-ish. They do really, really well. So adjust accordingly. It doesn't mean that if you're not spot on with the number that things are going to die. They won't, unless you're really out of whack. If you're 4 to 5 points out of whack on your pH scale, yep, you're going to have a few problems. But understand that a whole bunch of plant material will still do okay between 6 and 8. 6 and 8 is kind of that sweet spot that you want to swing for, unless you have extremely acidic requirements of the plants you're using. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, some rhododendrons, some azaleas, those kinds of things. Hydrangeas are much more accommodating. Like, they'll be okay in 7.5, maybe even 8. They'll have pink flowers, they won't have any blue flowers, and then you can adjust it down over time and you'll see the change in the flower blooms. You really will. They'll start to go from dark pinks and everything, they can go to blues, they really will. But understand what the plants you're selecting, what their needs are, and then adjust the soil or adjust your plant choices, either or. pH is something that's really overlooked in the horticultural world, and yet it is a biggie. Imagine, tell me if this has ever happened to you. You've done a $1,500 project, you put things in the ground, you've done everything according to plan, and then nothing grows. And you throw up your hands and you just go, I don't know what's wrong. That's what I get a lot of times as far as what should I do? What should I do about this? Check your soil pH. It's an easy correction, it's an easy test, and your landscape success will be that much more. That's what I got for you today. Soil pH, don't overlook it. Hey, if you would, please, if you got some value out of this, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. And if you're really interested about learning more, check out the website youryardcoach.com. Lots of information over there in the form of a great ebook, a great digital course, and a free giveaway, plus a whopping $2 checklist if you want to do step-by-step on how to do a landscape project correctly. Thanks for tuning in. As always, to your landscape success. I'll see you next Friday. Please enjoy the weekend and let me know if I can help in any way. Check out the email at youryardcoach@gmail.com. I'll answer all the emails personally, give you the best advice I possibly can. Anyway, thanks again, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.